So this is a DrumWise Meets, and today I'm here with Jonathan Ginger Hamilton, who has played for the likes of Sam Smith, Westlife and Jessie J. Hi Jonathan.
How you doing, man?
My first question for you today, what age did you get into drums and what bands or artists inspired you when you first started playing?
That's a great question. I was told I was into drums from literally coming out the womb. I always responded to rhythm. I can remember being into drums from a very early age. 3 years old, I grew up in church. So, music was a big part of my childhood. And, live concerts and live playing were a huge part. That was, once or twice a week I was hearing it, just in church. So I think for me, with my heavy gospel background, artists like Fred Hammond, that was the real kind of early inspiration for me. The late great Marvin McQuitty on drums, his pocket and his feel. I used to, literally break tapes, rewinding and just this is when cassette tape was around, guys. I'm, kind of telling my age a little bit. But I used to literally just rewind, play along to these tapes and CDs when they came out. And that's kind of how I got my early playing time, really.
Good stuff. Yeah. And what was your first drum kit?
My first drum kit was, my nan bought me a Mickey Mouse drum kit, which was my very first drum kit. I probably broke that within 6 months to a year. And then my first real wooden acoustic kit was, it was a miniature kit. I think it's called Done It or something like that. It was a red kit. I'll send you the picture. And then after that, my parents bought a vintage Eddie Ryan, a UK brand, for our church, and that was my first real kit. 24-inch bass drum, and I was like 7, so I used to have the toms like that.
Awesome. And I don't suppose you've still got any of those kits?
I have them all, actually, apart from the Mickey Mouse one.
Oh.
But the red one and the Eddie Ryan, they're in London. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. You still got them. Wicked. And talking about equipment, when we are currently out playing, which is not at the moment, what is your current equipment setup? So drums, cymbals, sticks, that kind of thing.
I'm extremely proud and honored to be a DW drums artist. It's a dream come true to be with such a caliber of company. I play DW's Collective Series drums. My last setup, if I can remember, it's been so long, was 10, 12, 16, 18, the 22 kick. I have 14x7 edge, a 14x8, and a 10x5. I used Zildjian cymbals, another company that I'm proud to be a part of. A mixture of mostly A customs and K customs, with a Constantinople ride. I switched between that and the 21-inch K ride. My main crash is normally a 19-inch or 20-inch A custom, nice and bright, powerful. I use quite big cymbals, normally between 19s and 20s. On my left of the A custom, I'll have a 19-inch sweet crash. On my right side, I normally have a 20-inch A custom EFX, and I had a 19-inch K custom. I believe it is the K custom not the session crash, it's the dark crash. See, I haven't played my cymbals in so long. But
Yeah, it's been ages.
it's been ages. Well, that setup anyway. At home, I play a completely different setup. So, Vic Firth sticks. I use the Extreme 5As, and I use Remo drum heads. On tour, I use the Ebony Suede Emperor. Diplomats on the bottom. I use the Black X, it's called, it's the Ebony Suede reverse stop for my snares. And yeah, what else? DW hardware, of course. I use drum dots, dampeners, and I use SE Electronics microphones as well around my kit. Wonderful microphone for drums. Check out their V-Drum series. Yeah, you'll love them.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, talking about your musical influences earlier, I now want to be more specific and ask you about drumming influences. So I'll start here by saying I think that this is a really hard question and I would struggle to answer this. And I think that we evolve as drummers anyway, and our influences, of course, change and we'll get more influences. But if you had to pick just one, who would be your all-time favourite drummer?
Just one. Oh, it's a toss-up for me. I have to mention them both. It would be Dennis Chambers or Aaron Spears for me. But if I had to choose, because of the influence on my playing, I will say Aaron Spears.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then if I said, okay, not just one, give me a list of like 5 or give me a bigger list, that's going to be easier. So let's go with that one now.
Dennis, Aaron Spears, Vinny, Steve Gadd, and number 5, I would have to say someone who I'm looking at the moment, who I'm loving, Mike Mitchell. Fantastic. He's the next creme de la creme of drummers in that realm. He's fantastic.
Cool, good stuff. There's some names for people to look up there, and some of those names, to be honest, if they don't know them, then they kind of should. Now, obviously, this is another tough question for some people. Anyway, other people have gone straight in and they've known exactly. What's been the highlight of your career so far?
That is a tough question. But for me, it will be playing the Grammy Awards. And it was extra special because it was the 60th Grammys and they were in New York that year at Madison Square Garden, which was another dream venue for me. So to play my dream award show at my dream venue, it has to be the Grammys.
Good stuff. Cool. Now, we've mentioned some of the artists you've played for. There's obviously many more than we've mentioned already at the beginning of the interview. But when you first get a gig with a new artist, how do you learn the songs? So do you, I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be one of these, but just as an example, you know, do you just listen to the stuff and, you know, just figure it out? Do you transcribe it? Or this one, no one has said yes to this one. Are you given an entire folder of the whole show written out in drum music and they go, here you go, Ginger, here's the entire thing. You just have to just read it.
Definitely no to number 3. And no to number 2. I'm a listener. I'm definitely an auditory learner first. So yeah, I like to get immersed in the music. You know, and you know, depending on who's the MD or who's sorting stuff out, sometimes you get the drum stem separately, so you can kind of have a detailed look at the parts you'll be playing. But you know, if you just get the songs, then I like to just keep playing them over and over again. That will allow me to decide what gear I'm using you know, what my setup will be, what kind of tones and, you know, everything kind of is dictated by me listening to the music. I like to get a good listen to the music first and kind of decide where things are going to go after that.
And once you've listened to it, you know, so thinking about some of the artists you've played for, how do you then decide which electronic route you're going to go down?
I think a lot of that is worked out in rehearsals. You know, you kind of have an idea if, you know, if it's more electronic sound in the music, then you know to just bring as much electronics as you can, and then you kind of figure out with, you know, the MD and the artist what kind of blend you're going for. Is it going to be, because sometimes it could be electronic music and then the artist decides I want it to be totally live. So you kind of don't know until you get into rehearsals how it's going to be. So I guess, you know, again, listen to the music and kind of bring, just in case, to have it at rehearsals. And then, you know, it's a question of, do you want it? Yes, no, put it back in the bag, it's fine.
Cool. Yeah. Talking about electronics, this might be the answer to this question. Give us a couple of examples if you can. Have you ever had anything go wrong on stage that you've had to recover from that you can tell us about?
Oh yeah, especially with electronics. They have a way of, you know, sometimes misfiring or double triggered, and you know, the way to kind of do it, if you can save it, just kind of switch it off or switch the volume down. But you know, yeah, there's been a few misfirings, or especially on the Sanskrit tour. There was a song called Nirvana, and all my drums are triggered, and I'm using my SPDS as well. So there was a lot of samples going on, and sometimes, some nights it was fired, some nights there was a bit of stage fright on the SPD end, and it misfired. But you know, you just kind of got to keep playing and play your way through it, I guess. And if it all goes wrong, you still have your drum kit there, so you can switch back and go acoustic until the problem's sorted. Yeah,
absolutely. Good stuff. So moving away from drums for a minute, what are your hobbies away from drums? And obviously this is a good chance to talk about the clothing.
Yes, absolutely. My main hobby away from drums is definitely football. I'm a big Arsenal FC supporter. Come on, you Gunners. And yeah, I like to, you know, watch or play sometimes. I like to think I'm still decent. I like to think I could have made it. You know, I guess we all do. But yeah, that's my main hobby. You know, I'm also into fashion a bit, and that's why I decided to start this company, especially for drummers, to kind of, you know, give us a voice and an identity in the fashion world, and kind of, you know, represent us in a cool and fashionable way.
Good stuff. Where can people check out the stuff that you've got?
Drumanddrummer.com. It's www.drumanddrmmr.com. That's drumanddrummer.com. And this is the signature collection that I'm wearing. And check it out, man. I'd love to hear feedback and see what you guys are saying about it, definitely.
Now, this is the most important question of this interview, and we've had some really good, interesting answers on this so far. So, what's your favourite biscuit?
Ooh, that's actually a great question. If I had to choose now, because obviously I live in America now, so the only biscuit that I get over here is the chocolate hobnob, and that's really just been keeping me kind of sane. That chocolate hobnob. through these COVID times has kept me through some dark COVID nights, guys.
Do they taste the same though? Are they like shipped over from?
Shipped over, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That would be my favorite biscuit if I am in London and I can choose. It would either be that again or I love Jaffa cakes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I've had this debate with a few people.
Is it a biscuit?
Precisely. I mean, would you dunk a Jaffa cake in a hot beverage?
I don't think I would, you know.
So surely that means
it's a chocolate covered hobnob. That's it.
Yeah, that is the way forward. I'll give you this. So one of the guys, Bob Knight, that I spoke to, I've told a few people about this. Bob told me, if you're into coffee, you into coffee?
I'm getting into it. I'm gonna get older, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So he said, make an espresso.
Yeah.
Get your chocolate covered hobnob.
Yeah.
Chocolate side down on top of the espresso. Leave it for like 5 minutes or so. I forget the exact time. Sorry, Bob. Yeah. And then you take it off, and there's two amazing things that have happened. You've got a chocolate ring on your espresso mug, and somehow magically the hobnob is infused with like this coffee flavor.
Wow.
It changed my life after that. That is just absolutely amazing. It's worth a try.
Try that, definitely.
So thanks, Bob. So the last most important kind of serious question here. If you could give one bit of advice to people starting out learning drums, what would that be?
Don't forget that we are musicians too. You know, as drummers and musicians in general, obviously we're picking up instruments now, and our first kind of thought is to go on YouTube and learn the hardest thing to do, and then that's it. But you know, the whole basis of picking up an instrument, whatever the instrument is, but as we're all drummers, we're talking about drums, you know, the whole ethos behind it is to play music. So, don't forget that as drummers, we are musicians too. So, try to, if you're going to start playing to music as much as you can, and find people to play with, find musicians, obviously in COVID safe environments now, but, not to get too caught up in the hype of just shredding and becoming, a social media sensation. I believe that is great and I love it. I'm all for it, but instruments are there to make music too, and that's the most important thing, is the music and us being musicians. So that's what I'll give as advice to anyone starting.
Ginger, thank you so much for spending your time with us here at DrumWise. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Thank you for having me, Tom. I really appreciate it. And all the guys at DrumWise, thank you.